Hey, what's going on, everyone? Thank you for joining us for another episode of our podcast. I'm Les.
And I'm Mo.
And this is the Les and Mo Show. Hello and welcome back, y'all. We missed you so much on our break, and we are so glad to be back for season 2. We're going to step up the stories we're bringing you guys this season, so please be prepared for that. It's some crazy content coming your way. Please continue to show us some love like you have been by listening each week. And as always, please like, share, comment, and subscribe to our show on all your favorite streaming platforms.
Thank you so much for listening, you guys. To start season 2 off right, we're doing another giveaway. To enter, go follow us on Facebook and Instagram for more details. Now, let's jump into our topic for today. We're talking about the Ant Hill Kids. Now, full disclosure, this story is absolutely disturbing. There will be a lot of graphic details of abuse, torture, and murder. It's so messed up, and I mean, it's amazing to me that hardly anyone knows about this cult that lasted for about 12 years.
Yeah, it's pretty insane. Let's start the story off, though, with the man behind the mayhem. His name was Rock Moses Thuralt. Moses is not his actual given middle name. It's just a name he would pick up along the way in the story. Of
course.
Yes, so we wanted to make that clear because we're going to call him different names throughout this. But Rock, he was born on May 16th, 1947, into a very devout Catholic family in Quebec, Canada. He was a very smart boy who did pretty well in school until he dropped out in 7th grade so he could teach himself about the Seventh-day Adventist Church and their beliefs. This would lead him to pretty much convert, and he would teach himself the Old Testament of the Bible, believing that the end of days was near. He would follow the holistic guidelines of the Adventist Church, including no unhealthy foods, no tobacco consumption, no alcohol or drugs. He stuck to his morals and his beliefs, becoming a prominent, well-respected member of the church. As an adult, Rock was a very charming, charismatic, and persuasive person. He would go on to lead services at his church, where he brought in large crowds to hear what he had to say. The church would eventually remove him, though, because his teachings were starting to stray from those of the Adventists. However, the damage was already done because at this point he had persuaded many followers to not only quit their jobs, but to join his group of like-minded individuals called the Ant Hill Kids. This name was chosen to represent the hard work his followers would do.
That's insane. I mean, it looked like he started off really good, right?
Yeah.
I mean, he seemed like he was very smart and motivated to be this type of person.
But something flipped. And, you know, it reminds me a little bit about Jim Jones from the Jonestown cult, because he started off as a preacher in a church too, and he got a lot of followers and got them to quit their jobs and do similar things. So very similar characteristics as other cult leaders, for sure.
Yeah, very similar. Absolutely. And it's pretty crazy to me how, you know, at the time he was not doing anything bad, you know, that would be considered bad, where he was, you know, unhealthy foods. Like, you know, this guy was pretty healthy, right? So,
at that time.
Yeah. In 1977, Rock, who now demanded to be called Moses, told his followers he was a prophet of God and that they needed to start a commune free of sin that stood for equality and unity. At first, this community was happy and thriving, but Rock would eventually turn to drinking, even though it was against the morals he had founded his belief off of. Although his moral compass was wavering, he would still demand that his followers stick to strict rules of no sin. Their freedoms would become more and more restricted as Moses would create rules that didn't even apply to the religious way he had adapted. Members were not allowed to contact family members or speak to each other privately. Rock must be present if they wanted to communicate together. Rock would become dependent on alcohol, and he would become more convinced that the end of days was near. He even stated to his followers that it would arrive in February of 1979. In preparation for Doomsday, Rock would move his followers to a densely wooded area that was only accessible at the time by hiking. They would only be allowed to bring what they could carry. So that's so insane, man.
Yeah, that's nuts.
Imagine just being following this guy, and he's supposed to. How's he gonna save you from Doomsday, man?
I don't know. He had a plan.
Yeah, I guess those people really believed him.
Yeah, I guess so.
The acreage the commune sat on was completely devoid of shelter. Upon arrival, the followers were responsible for building their town and everything they needed while Rock would relax. He hardly put any work to help construct the community he dreamed of. They would make money to build their commune by selling baked goods in nearby towns, often leaving the townspeople wondering more about the commune. Rock would not allow outsiders into the community and kept everything so well hidden that people didn't know where it was or how to get there. There were no direct entry points or access roads in. Eventually, February 1979 arrived, and Doomsday did not. Many followers started to question Rock and his connection to God. Rock would tell them that he was told by God himself that it was coming, but since God's time is man-made time were not linear, the calculations were off.
So I just want to point out something too. With his commune, at some point he said that he was, the prophet of God, and he was supposed to be called Moses. So he gets called Moses by the group members, and we aren't sure exactly when that happened, but that's kind of how he got that Moses name.
Yeah, and I'm just calling him Rock because I don't even want to compare this guy to the name Moses. I just feel
he's
bad
no
doing
prophet.
that.
He's no saint.
Yeah.
But I'm going to go ahead and throw a trigger warning in here now, guys, because we're going to start getting into the abusive side of things, and it's downright disturbing. It's extremely difficult to hear about some of the things that were done in this group.
Yeah, we're going to leave some things out, because it's pretty gory.
Yeah, we'll tell you about that. But the abuse of the members would begin when Moses was drinking heavily, and it began to make him paranoid and unstable emotionally. So he began spying on the members, and if he deemed them to not be devout enough, he would torture them in the most vulgar ways possible. He would suspend them from the ceiling and pluck every hair off their body. He would...
That's insane.
Yeah, that's
oh my gosh.
Freaking crazy. And can you imagine how much of a... that would hurt. Honestly, after the first
I have a lot of hair.
Yeah, that would hurt, dude. Your whole body? No thanks. That's crazy. But not only that, he would hit them with hammers or belts. And what's really disturbing here is he would make them break their own legs with sledgehammers. He would make members shoot other members in the shoulders, and he would even sometimes defecate on them. So, absolutely horrific torture.
Sounds like a Saw movie.
Yeah, no kidding. But honestly, guys, it only escalates from there. Moses desired a larger group, and he wanted children. So he married and impregnated all the women, and he would father 26 children by 9 different women.
Wow.
What? But by the 1980s, there were 40 members, including the children in his cult. Sadly, those children were not exempt from the abuse at all. The children were susceptible to anything the adults were. Oftentimes, children would be beaten if they cried too much or if they disobeyed, as children often do. He would sometimes use knives to pin a child to a tree by their clothing, and he would beat them basically. And what's really messed up, though, he wouldn't just beat them. He would have the mothers of the children throw rocks at them. And if they didn't, then he would torture them in even worse ways. So they were abused in all ways, physical and emotionally. And some were even murdered. One in particular, he was named Matthew, and he was only 3 months old at the time of his death. Matthew was crying one day and was not able to be consoled in a timely fashion, so Moses ordered the child to be put in a wheelbarrow and left outside, and wouldn't give permission to the mother to go check on the baby. The baby was literally wrapped in like a thin blanket, and the temperatures were somewhere between -5 and -10 degrees, plus there was a blizzard going on. So the mother obviously waited desperately for 3 hours, and finally Moses allowed her to go retrieve the baby. Unfortunately, Matthew had passed by the time she got to him, but somehow Moses was able to persuade police and his followers that the child had only died by SIDS, or what's known as sudden infant death syndrome. And that's what was even listed on the death certificate.
That's so sick.
It's disgusting.
I mean, it's one thing to, like, you know, if he was torturing, like, the adults, but, like, now you're bringing the kids in. That's so messed up. I mean...
And you're not just hurting some of them, you're killing
them.
Other ones. It's absolutely horrific. And it's his own children. Like, why... Yeah. And you want more members. So why are you killing them?
It's a complete 180 of how he started off and now what he's doing. I mean, that's so sad, man. I mean, these people are completely taken advantage of. He's using them for his needs. Obviously, It's all about power for him. That's exactly what's going on. It's
all about what he wants and how he can get what he desires, and the power, the manipulation, the control. That's all the
He's
things
extremely
that he wants.
lazy and wants all the power, and that's so sad.
Yeah. Ugh. Whatever.
Matthew was not the only member to be murdered by Rock. Another one of his children died during his attempt to circumcise the baby boy. However, a member named Solange, who became ill and complained to Rock about stomach aches, asked to go to the doctor. The thought of any member leaving enraged Rock, and he decided to take matters into his own hands. This is pretty disgusting. I mean, it's sick.
Yeah, this is gross, guys.
Trigger warning. He instructed Solange to strip down and lay on a kitchen table. He would have other members hold her down, and she was given alcohol to drink. Rock would start to help her by punching her in the stomach. He then forced a tube into her rectum where he would give her a botched enema using olive oil and molasses. He then decided to cut open her abdomen and began removing parts of her intestine using his bare hands. When he finally was satisfied with the procedure, he had another member stitch her up. She was barely breathing at this point, so Rock ordered other female members to insert a tube down her throat and breathe into it to keep her alive. Solange would succumb to her wounds the next day. As a prophet of God, Rock said he was instructed by God to resurrect Solange. But the way he tried to do this, it's literally so heinous, we don't want to talk about it on the show.
Yeah, it's bad.
But you can definitely look it up online. And I guarantee you that you'll wish that you hadn't done that, because it's disgusting.
It's horrific, guys. Yeah. Really.
And obviously that did not work. You know, him trying to resurrect her, it did not work. And that left a lot of his devout followers in shock. And so none of them left him. I mean, they still stuck around, and her body was just buried somewhere nearby the commune.
Yeah. You guys, we can't stress enough how messed up this is. This part that we won't tell you guys is literally
sick,
disgusting. Yeah, it's absolutely sick. So yeah, I don't know, trigger warning on looking it up.
Yeah, it's probably the worst. It's probably the worst way I've ever heard of anyone get killed and what was done to her body after. It's the worst thing I've ever heard.
Yeah, it's degrading and just sad. But this guy, started doing medical procedures on his people. What the hell? Trying to circumcise a baby himself, and then what, I don't know what the hell he thought he was doing with
He
Solange.
was trying to hide it all, trying to keep his power as long as he could before the authorities caught up to him. So
yeah, but you have no medical degree.
I know.
What the hell, dude?
It's messed up. I can't believe this guy was. I also can't believe that these people kind of let him, but at the same time, they were kind of scared and brainwashed, and I don't know how to think of it, you know?
Well, there's a lot of reasons people stay in cults, and it's usually has to do with fear and, you know, what you just said. So it took the brutal near-death torturing of another member to finally get Moses and the cult on police radar, though. A member named Gabrielle endured horrific treatment, like having her genitals burnt with a blowtorch. She had 8 teeth pulled out. A hypodermic needle was broken off into her spine.
Oh.
Yeah. After she tried to escape, she basically, you know, decided, like a lot of people do, that she can't live without the group. So she went back.
That's so crazy to me.
Yeah.
This has to be.
Out.
It has to be some sort of psychological.
Oh, it is.
It's just like you're out and then you decide to go back. That's so crazy to me,
it's
man.
It's like Munchausen syndrome, you know.
I don't know what that is.
Oh, well, it's like when you're... we'll explain it a different time.
We'll put it in the description, guys.
Yeah, sorry about that.
Whoever doesn't know what that is.
So when she arrived back, though, Moses, he decided he was going to punish her, and he started by pulling her nail, or hammering her nail to a table, cutting one of her fingers off, and then he amputated her arm with a freaking hunting knife. So this still somehow did not make her leave. As if she hadn't been punished enough, Moses decided that he was going to cut off part of her breast and hit her in the head with an axe. And he hit her not with the sharp side, with like the flat side. So once she recovered enough from those injuries, she was like, peace out, I got to make my escape. And she did. When she wound up in the next town, she got police and assistance, and the doctors and the police would both agree that it's literally a miracle that she survived. So the police would eventually arrive at the commune and would take the children away, as well as Moses. And 4 of the wives actually stuck by his side despite all the depravities he had inflicted.
Yeah.
The rest of the members, they were thankful to finally be free, and they, you know, went about their lives. But for all of this activity, Moses was convicted and sentenced to serve a life sentence for killing Solange and for the abuse and neglect of his children. So he would stay in prison until 2011, but he was murdered by his cellmate, who was absolutely disgusted with him and his crimes. So the cellmate who would murder Rock, he killed him, and then he went to the security guard desk, handed them the knife, and said, "That piece of shit is down on the range. Here's the knife. I've sliced him up."
Wow. I've got to be honest with you. It sounds like a movie.
Yeah, and there is a movie about it. There actually is, and let me see what it is called again.
I mean, just the way it ends up, right? I mean, that guy gets exactly what he deserves. I mean, I wish he was maybe tortured like the way he tortured... What's it called?
Savage Messiah, and it was released in 2002. Let's see what rating it's got on Rotten Tomatoes.
20 years ago.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, if you can just imagine what happened to Solange after we just talked about Gabrielle, that wasn't even half of what happened to her. It's
no.
So sick.
And there was even another member who I didn't want to put this in there, but it's not as bad as some of the other things. She had her arm also, she had like a railroad nail driven through her hand, and he held her hand in place on this table, and he took a knife and he started peeling layers of skin off of her arm, and she also escaped, and she ended up losing part of her arm anyways because it got infected, because she didn't leave right away. She left a little while later, but the arm was too far gone, so that one got amputated too. Like, he really tortured and treated these people so horribly, and I don't know if he had the best intentions in the beginning, but he sure didn't at the end.
Jim Jones wasn't doing this though.
He was using fear and manipulation, his people, yes. and you know, religion, just like this too, but
he was using it more for like the power aspect of it. Yeah, this guy was a straight up killer. He liked killing people and torturing them.
Yeah, agreed. And just from Rotten Tomatoes, this movie Savage Messiah about this cult has a 65% audience score. So not bad. Probably worth just checking out. I think maybe we'll do that tonight too. But yeah, just absolutely messed up what was going on with them, and it makes me really sad that these people went through it. There's a couple documentaries about the show too, or about the cult too, that you can check out. So definitely listen to more. There's a really good one that has the survivors actually being interviewed. So that's cool to hear it from their point of view. So check it all out.
And that actually wraps up today's episode. Let us know what you guys think. I mean, how do you feel about his members that stayed with him and some that supported him till the last day? Could they have escaped and made it out? What do you think about Rock? Why do you think he was like that? Let us know what you guys think. And we'll pin the best comment or the best theory on YouTube. If you're on YouTube, leave a comment and we'll pin it at the top. Give us a like, and please follow us on all social media and your favorite streaming platform. And again, just a reminder, we are doing a giveaway. To enter or for more details, go and follow us on Facebook and Instagram. With that being said,
the more you know, the less you fear. So tune in next week right back here.